The average salary of a Spring MVC developer lies between 16 to 30 lakhs per annum. Pretty amazing, right? If you are looking forward to pursuing your career in web development, mastering MVC can be a game changer for you. So why MVC, you ask? Spring MVC is a Java framework that is used for building web applications. It not only streamlines the development and deployment of your application, but also allows multiple developers to work together. Plus, do you know companies like Wipro, Cognizant, Infosys, and many more prefer developers skilled in Java Spring MVC with massive openings every year. So, if you want to land a job as Java developer, you must prepare for Spring MVC interview questions. That's what we are going to do in this particular video. After careful analysis, we have listed the top 15 most commonly asked Spring MVC interview questions, so ensure that you carefully analyze them. Let's get started with the very first question. Question number 1. What is Spring Framework? For this question, try to be as precise as you can. Go by saying that Spring Framework is an open source tool that makes building enterprise Java application easier and more efficient. You can think of it as a toolkit with multiple layers, each designed to handle different aspects of application. Explain by giving examples to make a better understanding. Say, one layer helps you to manage dependency. So imagine you're building a car. Instead of manually assembling each part, like the engine, wheels, and seat, Spring handles it for you, ensuring that everything fits perfectly together. Another layer called Aspect-Oriented Programming, AOP, is like adding a security system to your car without having to redesign it. You can add extra features like logging or security checks without messing with the core structure. In a nutshell, Spring simplifies the process, allowing you to focus on building great applications rather than worrying about the nitty-gritty details. Question number 2. What is the difference between Spring Boot and Spring MVC? This question is very often asked in interviews. The interviewer will check how well you understand the topic. So let's differentiate the two on the basis of first, purpose and microservice support. Talking about the very first pointer, Spring Boot. You can think of it as a pre-packaged meal kit that simplifies cooking. It comes with everything you need so that you can just focus on the recipe. In the context of Java, Spring Boot simplifies the configuration and deployment of application. For example, if you're building a web service, Spring Boot handles much of the setup like dependency, management, auto configuration, configuration management, etc. So you can just get straight to the writing code. On the other hand, Spring MVC is like cooking from scratch. Spring MVC provides a framework for building web application using MVC, Model View Controller Pattern. It gives you the flexibility but requires you to handle more configuration. Now talking about the microservice support, Spring Boot is perfect for this because it is designed to handle small, self-contained applications that can work together. It is well suited for microservice-based applications, offering tools that make it easy to spin up multiple services quickly. But with Spring MVC, you will need to do more of the work yourself, like figuring out the logistic of how each service will operate. It's possible, but it requires more configuration and setup. Moving ahead with the third question, which is, what is a view resolver in Spring MVC? Answering this question, you can say that View Resolver is like a guide that helps the framework find and display the correct web page or view based on the controller's instruction. You can even think of it as a GPS for your application's view. As you're done with definition, go on by explaining by taking an example. So imagine you are using a GPS to find a specific location. You enter the name of the place, like Central Park, and the GPS, which in our case is Spring MVC, needs to figure out where exactly that is. The View Resolver is like that map that translates Central Park into the exact address so that GPS can guide you there. In the same way, when a controller in Spring MVC returns the name of a view, the View Resolvers take that name and translate it into the correct file path. So moving on to our next question we have is, how does Spring MVC differ from other MVC frameworks? So answering this question, you can go on by saying that Spring MVC stands out from the other MVC framework because of its flexibility and integration capabilities. Now we will be taking an example for explaining this. Imagine you are building a custom home, which in our case is web application. With some framework, you are given a specific set of tools and materials you have to build according to their rules. These frameworks are like a kit stone where everything is predefined. Whereas Spring MVC is like a fully customizable set. It provides all the essential tools, but you can choose how to use them. Want to use different materials, libraries, or components? No problem. Need to change the floor plan architecture? Go ahead. Spring MVC lets you to integrate easily with other technologies, allowing you to design your application exactly the way you want. Moving ahead with question number 5, which is, can you explain Spring MVC's support for RESTful web services? So, Spring MVC support is like running a recipe sharing website and allowing users to access recipe through an app. With Spring MVC, you can create a RESTful service that provides the data. For example, you could set up an endpoint, recipes, that returns a list of recipes in JSON format by using get mapping and recipes. You are telling Spring MVC that whenever someone sends a GET request to recipes, it should respond with the list of recipes. If a user wants to see the details of a specific recipes, they can use an endpoint like recipes with ID parameter. Here, ID is the unique identifier for each recipe. Spring MVC handles converting the recipe data to JSON and send it back to user's app, making it very easy for other systems to access and display your recipes. Now, question number 6. What is the front controller of Spring MVC? So, go on by saying that in Spring MVC, the dispatcher servlet acts as the front controller. Imagine it like a traffic cop for your web application. It catches all the incoming HTTP requests and decides where they should go. Imagine it as a dispatcher in a call center, directing each call, which in our case is a request to the right department, whether it's a controller to process data, a model to handle business logic, or a view to display the result. For example, when a user visits your website's homepage, dispatcher servlets route the request to the correct controller method, ensuring that the right data is displayed on the screen. Now we have question number 7, which is, explain Spring MVC architecture. By asking this question, the interviewer will test your ability to explain technical concepts. So firstly, go on by explaining the MVC architecture and how they collectively function. So Spring MVC is a Java framework used to build web application. It follows the model view controller design pattern. Talking about these 3 terms, first, model. This represents the data and business logic of the application. The model is responsible for fetching data from database, processing it and passing to the controller. Second, view. The view is the presentation layer that renders the user interface. In Spring MVC, views are typically JSPs or other front-end technologies. The view receives the data from controller and presents it to the user in a formatted way. Example, HTML pages. Third, controller. The controller acts as an intermediary between the model and the view. It handles the incoming HTTP request, processing them by interacting with the model, and determines which view to render. For example, when a user submits a form, the controller processes the form data, updates the model, and then returns a view to display the result. Talking about how they work. Firstly, when a user sends a request, it is first handled by the dispatcher servlet, which acts as a front controller. The dispatcher servlet delegates the request to appropriate controller. The controller interacts with the model to process the data and business logic. The processed data is then handed off to a view, which renders the final output to the user. Moving on to our next question, question number 8. Can you explain the difference between controller and REST controller in MVC? Answering this question, you can say controller is basically used in Spring MVC to define a controller that handles web requests and typically returns views like HTML pages. On the other hand, REST controller combines controller and response body, meaning it handles requests and returns data directly as JSON or XML, perfect for building RESTful APIs. Essentially, use controller when you need to render a web page and REST controller when you're working with data responses. Moving forward with our 9th question, which is, what are the different ways to achieve session management in Spring MVC? So in Spring MVC, session management is crucial for maintaining user state across multiple requests. Let's see the different ways to achieve session management. First, HTTP session. Default method. Spring MVC uses the HTTP session object to store session data on the server. You can access it through the HTTP servlet request object. Session attribute. Annotation-based approach. Use the session attribute annotation on a controller to automatically store model attributes in the session. Moving on to question number 10. Name the annotation used to handle different types of incoming HTTP request methods. Answering this question, Spring MVC has different annotation used to handle various types of incoming requests. First, get mapping. This annotation is used when you want to handle get request. It's like saying when a user asks to see something like a web page or a list of items. Use this method to get information and show it. Second, post mapping. This is for handling post requests. It's like saying when a user sends in some information like submitting a form. Use this method to save or process that information. Third, put mapping. This handles the put request. Think of it as when a user wants to update existing information like changing their profile details. Use this method to make those updates. Fourth, delete mapping. This one is for delete request. It is like saying when a user wants to delete something, for example, deleting an account. Use this method to perform the deletion. These annotations help your application understand what to do with different types of requests. Now, question number 11. How to declare a class as a controller class in Spring MVC. As you can see on the screen, to declare a class as a controller class, you can use the controller annotation. After that, add request mapping annotation to class or individual methods to map URLs to the controller. You can refer to the code on the screen. In this example, a request to Hello World would be mapped to say hello function. So by using controller annotation and request mapping, you can easily create your controller class in Spring MVC to handle incoming requests to process business logic. Now, let's discuss some more advanced Spring MVC question for experienced. So, question number 12. How to get HTML form data in Spring MVC controller. So, in Spring MVC controller, to handle a HTML form, you will need to follow these steps. First is to create the HTML form. You need to create a basic HTML form with certain tags like form, input, button. The code for the same is there on the screen. Next is define the controller. Use controller to mark the class as controller. You can see the code right there on the screen. Now let's break down the code to get a better understanding. First, talking about the form has fields for username and password. It sends data to submit form when submitted. Second, next is controller. The post mapping annotation maps the form submission to the handle form submission. And lastly, request param. This annotation captures the form data like username and password from the request. When the form is submitted, Spring MVC collects the data and sends it to handle form submission method, which then processes or displays it. So this is how the whole process works. Moving on to question number 13, which is describe how would you implement exception handling in Spring MVC application. So implementing exception handling in Spring MVC application helps us to manage error and ensures a better user experience. So here are the ways by which you can handle exceptions effectively. First, use exception handler in controllers. You can handle exceptions directly within your controllers using exception handler annotation. This method captures the specific exception and returns a user-friendly message or a view. For example, the code on the screen will catch user not found exception and returns a 404 error with a custom message. Second, use controller advice for global handling. If you want to handle exception across all controllers in one place, you can use controller advice. This helps centralize exception handling and reduces the code duplication. For example, the code you can see on the screen will handle any unhandled exception thrown by the controller, providing a consistent error response. Third, customize error pages. For a more user-friendly experience, you can create custom error pages for different HTTP error statuses like 404 or 500. Define these pages in your resources folder under static error. Example, create an HTML file named 404 HTML in this particular path to display a custom 404 error page. Now, question number 14. How to use session attribute in Spring MVC? Okay, for this question, imagine the scenario wherein you are building a web application where a user is placing an order. The order process spans multiple pages like selecting item, entering shipping details, and confirming the order. You need to keep track of what the user has entered so far, even as they navigate between these pages. Instead of passing this information back and forth between pages manually, you can use session attribute to store in the user session. Now, the question which must be coming to your mind is, what does session attribute do? So, session attribute is an annotation that tells Spring to store certain data called attributes in session, a space on the server that's unique to each user. This means that once you store something in the session, it stays there and can be accessed across multiple pages until you either finish with it or explicitly remove it. Let's see how we can use it. So first, mark your controller with session attribute to specify which attribute you want to store in session. As you can see in the code, the order controller starts by creating an order object when the user begins the process. By adding session attribute at the top, you tell the Spring, keep this order object in the session. So when you're done with this, the second step would be to access and modify the session data. So when the user moves from one step to the next, you can modify the order object and keep those changes across different controller methods. But how? As the code shows that as the user progresses, the same order object is continuously updated with the new information. This allows you to build up the complete order over several requests. Now the last step is clearing the session data. Once you're done with the session data, like after the order is completed, you can remove it from the session. This ensures that the old data doesn't accidentally carry over to the future sessions. It can be done as session status.setComplete, which clears the order from the session. In short, session attribute in Spring MVC lets you to store data temporarily in the session while a user interacts with your application. Now moving on to our last question, which is mention the pros and cons of Spring MVC. Okay, talking about the pros of Spring MVC, we have a well-organized structure. Spring MVC provides a clear and organized structure for building web applications. It separates concerns into different layers like controller, service, and repository, which makes your code easier to manage and understand. Talking about flexibility and customization, you can configure it to suit your needs, no matter if you're building a small app or a large enterprise application. Third is powerful dependency injection. Spring's powerful dependency injection reduces boilerplate code and makes your application components loosely coupled. This means your code is more modular and easy to test, change, or extend. So last but not least, comprehensive ecosystem. With Spring MVC, you're not just getting a web framework, you are plugging into the entire Spring ecosystem. This includes features like security, data access, and cloud deployment, all of which are seamlessly integrated. Now let's talk about the cons of Spring MVC. We have a steep learning curve. Spring MVC can be challenging to learn, especially if you are new to Spring framework. The sheer number of feature and configuration options can be overwhelming for a beginner. The second thing which we are talking over here is configuration complexity. Although Spring has simplified configuration over the years, there can be still a lot of steps involved, especially in more complex applications. Managing XML or Java-based configuration might feel cumbersome compared to more modern frameworks. Third is verbose code. Sometimes Spring MVC can feel a bit verbose, requiring a lot of classes and annotation to accomplish relatively simple tasks. This can lead to more code to maintain, especially for smaller projects. And last one is potential overhead. Because Spring MVC is part of the largest Spring ecosystem, it might feel like overkill for a very small project. The framework's overhead might not be justified if you're building something simple and lightweight. Spring MVC is a powerful and flexible framework that's great for building scalable and maintainable web applications. However, it comes with a steep learning curve and some complexity, which might be difficult to understand from a beginner's point of view. So that's all from my side. All the very best for your upcoming Spring MVC interviews. Plus, if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to Intellipaat's YouTube channel. Thank you and see you in the next video.